Every time you buy fuel in Nigeria, you are paying people you have never seen. Not the government, not the person selling fuel in the filling station. People hiding inside the system. People you will never meet, but they are taking your money every liter, every day. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how the fuel distribution system works, where your money goes, and why this problem is not going away anytime soon. I'm Cormac, and this is CormacExplains. This video is based on news reports and public documents. It is meant to help you understand how the fuel system works in Nigeria. I'm not accusing any specific person, I'm just explaining the system. Now, let me tell you about a man. Let me call him Suleiman. Suleiman drives a fuel tanker from Lagos to Maiduguri. That is 1,200 kilometers. That is far. He drives on highways that have no lights. He passes checkpoints where men will go and ask him for money. He drives through states where kidnappers wait for people like him. He leaves his family for 2 weeks at a time. His truck has no air conditioning. The roads have big holes that can flip his truck over. If he make it safely, and that is a big if, he delivers 33,000 liters of fuel to a depot in the north. For this, he earns a salary. But before he even starts his truck, there are costs. According to the news reports, tanker drivers have to pay a fee at the depots before they can load their trucks. The report says the fee is 39,000 naira per truck in cash, no receipt, no bank transfer, no law that says this fee must be paid. Just 39,000 naira. Or according to the drivers who spoke to reporters, that they cannot load their trucks. Now, let's do the math. One truck carries 33,000 liters with 39,000 naira in fees. That adds about 1.18 naira to every single liter before it even leaves the depot. Nigeria uses about 50 million liters of petroleum every single day. If those numbers are correct across the whole system, that means about 59 million naira is added every day. That is nearly 1.8 billion naira every month, and that is over 21 billion every year, added to the cost of fuel before it even reaches the road. And here's the dangerous part. This money exists in a gray zone. It is not clearly illegal in some cases. It is not fully accounted for in others. And most people at the pump never knew about it. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying every depot does this. I'm saying that news investigations and driver testimonies have raised serious questions about how cost adds up before fuel ever reaches you. Let me tell you the story the way the government told it. Once upon a time, Nigeria had a problem. We were spending trillions of naira subsidizing fuel. That means the government was paying the difference between the real cost and what you paid at the pump. In 2023, President Tinubu stood up at his swearing in and announced subsidy is gone. The world clapped, economy is cheered, and the IMF nodded in agreement. The idea was simple: remove the subsidy. Let prices find their true market level. Use the money saved for infrastructure, education, healthcare, the things that actually matter. And for a moment, it worked, sort of. But prices went up, that was expected. But then, the Dangote Refinery came online, a $20 billion project, the largest single-train refinery in the world. It can process 650,000 barrels of crude oil every day. That is more than enough to meet all the Nigerians' fuel needs. Suddenly, Nigeria did not need to import fuel anymore, at least in theory. We could refine it here with lower transportation costs without paying for shipping from other countries. Dangote himself said prices should come down. In January 2026, a refinery's price was reported at 699 naira per liter. That is about half of what people were paying at some stations. So why are you still paying 1,300 naira? The official answer includes global problems: the Iran-Israel war, crude oil prices going up and down, inflation, and the naira falling. The Minister of Finance said Nigeria's inflation was triggered by outside shock. And those things do matter, nobody is saying they don't. But here is what the official answer does not fully explain. If the refinery is here and the production has gone up, why has the price not dropped by the same amount? That question brings us to the distribution system. Let me show you the first layer of cost that most people never see. In Nigeria's fuel distribution system, there are many places where costs add up before a single liter reaches to a filling station. According to industry investigations, this includes 1. Fees at the depot for loading assets. 2. Money collected by unions and associations. 3. Charges for documentations and permission. 4. Payments to middlemen who help drivers access depots. 5. Unofficial tips as checkpoints along major roads. Now, are all these written in official government rules? No. Do they appear on any receipt you get at the pump? No. Do they affect the final price you pay? According to every industry analysis, yes. One investigation described the system as not transparent. It noted that drivers have little choices but to pay if they want to work. And here is what it means in real life. If you refuse to pay certain fees, you cannot load your truck. If you cannot load your truck, you do not earn money. And if you don't earn money, you do not eat. That is not me making accusations. That is me describing what news reports and a driver association have said. The system, as it is currently set up, creates a situation where paying unofficial fees becomes a normal part of doing business, and those costs get passed down eventually to you. In early 2026, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority announced that no new import licenses would be given out in the first 3 months of the year. Their reason: local refineries, led by Dangote, we are producing enough to meet the country's need. But here is where the number gets interesting. In February 2026, local refineries reportedly supplied 36.5 million liters per day. The country was using 56 million liters per day. That is a gap of nearly 20 million liters. So where did the fuel come from? According to the industry reports, leftover stocks from previous imports and delayed shipments from Europe. In other words, imports were still happening, just not through new licenses. Now, here is what some fuel marketers have said publicly. They have said that limiting imports could create monopolies. Others have said the opposite, that imports were needed to keep price competitive. I'm not here to say who is right, but here is what I can tell you about how system works in general. When a market becomes controlled, whether by rules, limited license, or a few powerful players, competition goes down. When competition goes down, prices do not drop as easily when costs drop. And when prices do not drop, even when production costs fall, you pay more than you should. The Dangote Refinery was supposed to solve this. A $20 billion project, 650,000 barrels per day, energy independence. So why are you still paying more? Because production is not the only problem. Distribution is the problem. And the people and structures controlling distribution may not have the same interest as you. That is not conspiracy. That is just how the system works. Now let me show you what happens when all these players comes together. In April 2026, Nigerian's airline operators sent a letter to the government. Their message: we can no longer afford to fly. The reason: Jet A1, the fuel used by planes, had reportedly gone up from about 900 naira per liter in February to over 3,000 naira per liter in April. That is about 300% increase in just 8 weeks. The airline operators of Nigeria said that airline revenue are not enough to cover the cost of fuel alone. One airline had already stopped flying. More were threatening to do the same. The Minister of Aviation called an emergency meeting. He begged the airlines not to stop flying. He warned that higher ticket prices would make life harder for Nigerians. Now let's think about this clearly. During the same period, global crude oil prices went up, but not by 300%. The airlines themselves call the price increase artificial. That is a strong word. It suggests something is not normal. Industry experts pointed to several possible reasons. 1. Not enough competition in aviation fuel supply. 2. Bottleneck at depots. 3. Higher cost along the supply chains. 4. Too few suppliers controlling the market. None of these reasons need a big conspiracy. They just need a system with few players, not much transparency, and high barriers for new companies to enter. A 300% increase in 8 weeks is not normal market behavior, it is distortion. And distortions usually benefit someone. The question is who? Let me bring this back to you because it is easy to talk about deports and rules and import bans. But what does this actually mean for your life? Here are numbers. In March 2026, Nigerian inflation rate went above 15%. Food inflation went above 14%. Economists interviewed by major news outlets say that the main cause was fuel prices. They said the increase was mostly driven by outside and local cost pressures, including the war in the Middle East, shipping problems, and the local transport costs. In the 50 days before that report, petrol has reportedly gone up from about 900 naira to between 1,290 naira and 1,350 naira per litre. Diesel was reported at between 1,600 naira and 1,800 naira. That is about 50% increase in less than 2 months. And every naira of that increase was finally paid by you. At the pump, at the market, on the bus. One economist said, what is more worrying is not just about the increase itself, but how fast essential costs like food and transport are rising. That speed matters a lot. When prices go up slowly, people adjust. When they go up fast, people struggle. And when they go up for reasons that are not fully explained, people get angry. That anger is not silly. It is a response to a system that feels like it was built to take something from you, not to serve you. But here is what I want you to understand. The system is not controlled by one person or one company or one regulator. It is a web of different interests. And until those interests changes, the results will not change either. Now, here is where the story takes an unexpected turn. According to news reports, there is tension inside one of the major unions involved in fuel distribution. Report says that some of those members have asked for leaders to be removed. They have raised concerns about corruption, abuse of power, and lack of transparency. These internal fights have been covered by major Nigerian newspapers. One report quoted critics who described part of the system as taking advantage of people and not able to be accountable. I want to be very careful here. I'm not accusing any specific person or group of anything. What I'm saying is this. News reports have documented internal conflicts, claims of financial wrongdoings, and calls for a change. You can read this report by yourself. I will put up the link in the description. Here is what is interesting about systems under pressure. When the people inside the system start to question it, change becomes possible. Will those internal pressure lead to real change? I don't know. But history shows that no system stays the same forever. And when the people running the system start to lose faith in it, the system becomes weak. That weakness is an opportunity, not just for drivers, not just for consumers, for anyone who wants more open system. But openness only matters if people demand it. Remember Suleiman, the driver who leaves his family for 2 weeks at a time. He still pays fees at the depot. If the reports are correct, he still drives 1,200 kilometers on a dangerous road. He still risks his life every time he gets behind the wheels. And today, fuel is even more expensive than it was last year. So ask yourself, who actually benefits from this system? Not Suleiman, not the business owners whose transport costs have doubled, but somewhere inside the chain, someone is making money from every liter you buy, and that someone has no reason to change the system. That is not conspiracy, that is just how the structure works. The question is not whether the system is broken or not. The question is who benefits from it being broken. Here is the truth. There is no single bad person. There is no single policy that will fix everything. There is no one person whose removal will solve the problem. The problem is the system itself. A system where many different players, each chasing their own interest, have learned to make money from every step of distribution chain, and they will fight any change that will threaten their money. But here is what you can do. First, stop believing that the problem is simple. Anyone who tells you just remove the subsidy, or just sells everything to a private company, or just give everything back to the government is selling you a dream. Real change requires fixing many layers at the same time. Second, ask for transparency. Ask questions, share information, compare prices at different stations. The more people can see the system, the harder it is for hidden costs to stay hidden. Third, understand that not knowing is the most profitable part of this entire system. As long as people don't know how fuel is priced, as long as they don't understand where the cost is coming from, as long as they accept the system as misery, nothing changes. But once you see the layers, once you understand the structure, once you realize that fuel prices are not just global problems, but also a local decision, you are not longer in the darkness. And not knowing is the most profitable part of this system. You are not powerless, but you are not in control also. This system does not change because people complain. It changes when the pressure becomes too expensive to ignore. Start by understanding, share this video, talk about it, because the only thing more powerful than a broken system is a population that refuses to accept it. I will leave you with one question. If you found out that every liter of fuel you bought had a hidden cost that nobody explains, what would you want to know next? Now you know part of the story, and knowing changes things. I'm Cormac, and this is Cormac Explains. If you want more breakdown like this, the real story behind Nigeria's electricity, how banking actually works, who controls naira, hit subscribe and comment below. What is the highest price you have paid for fuel in the last month? Where were you? Because I read every comment. Next video, the truth about Nigerian electricity and why lights keeps going off even though you pay every month. See you in the next breakdown. This is how system actually work. They do not announce themselves loudly. They take quietly. And by the time you notice, the money is already gone. See you next time.